in the Frederick Modine. Let's find out with a chance. 3-on-1. Gary Bulk, however, breaks up. Some nice back checking. Sabres playing a physical game. Kevin Adams finds out as Eric Rapp and then Rob Ray, the antagonist, Ty Domi. Back Laveretta drills Stevie Thomas, who aggravates his shoulder injury. He heads to the dressing room but would return. Just 9 shots in the first. Thomas back on ice to start the second on the power play. Well, you could almost call this a field goal. Steve Sullivan's shot is deflected twice. Matt Sundin bats it out of the air, and he gets credit. Another lead power play scramble in front. Sergei Berezin knocks it in, but they go upstairs, and Matt Sundin's skate is in the crease, and therefore no goal. A little chippy as Richard Smellick drills Domi from behind. He was okay. Smellick in the box. Then it's the Sabres' turn to tie it up. Curtis Brown streaks in by Yushkevich and drills a backhander over Curtis Joseph's shoulder. His 7th of the playoffs, 1-1. Then it's the Leafs to come back. Matt Sundin with the wraparound. Chris King is there for his first of the playoffs. Ty Domi was in the crease, but he was pushed in. At least that's what video replay said. Leafs in front 2-1. Buffalo ties it up on the power play. Alexei Zhitnik's shot, and then Vaclav Varada jumps on the rebound. They sprawled Curtis Joseph, who could not get to it. 2-2 after 2 periods of play. Third period just underway. Make it 2-2. Brown and Varada for Buffalo. Sundin and Chris King for the Leafs. Only 15 teams have come back from a 3-1 deficit. And Varada's power play goal means Buffalo has scored a power play goal in 14 of 15 games this year. Avalanche, 1 win away from reaching the Stanley Cup final. All they have to do is win at home tomorrow. The Avs are 8-1 on the road, but only 3-5 in Denver. Stars have been the best team over the regular season 2 consecutive years, but have not reached the final. Ronald Corey is stepping down as president of the Montreal Canadiens as of July 31st. Molson Breweries, the parent company and owners of the team and arena, have begun the search and hope to have a new boss in place in 2 months. Brian Britt has more from Montreal.
During his time as president, Corey took the good with the bad. 2 Stanley Cups. He delivered the Molson Center. But there were frustrations, most recently hard financial times for the team. And this year, the Canadiens failed to make it to the playoffs. Bowing out today, the 60-year-old Corey said he wanted to spend more time with his family and look after his health.
This year, first of all, I got asthma. I got sick for the first time in my life, and one of the doctors said maybe the stress has something to do with that.
Corey says
the playoffs, up-to-the-minute scores and stats. Check out the video features. It's interactive and entertaining. Hockey online at cbc.ca. Get in on the game.
He ended up really convincing me that, while there's no really convenient time to do something like this, if we were going to do it, we should get on with it.
Tremblay says there was pressure to leave, and he believes Corey might have bowed out when he delivered the new Molson Center.
And I think that for the 3-4 last years, Ron Corey surrounded himself with friends, and that's probably it's not a mistake. It's
You're not referring to Reggie, are you?
Oh yeah, it's a tendency that you become more solitary, and you tend to get people who think like you.
To the detriment of the club?
Yeah.
The Reggie referred to as Canadiens general manager at Ajan Houle. He says he was surprised by today's announcement, but for him, it will be work as usual tomorrow.
For me, I've got a mandate. I'm the GM of the team, and I just have to go ahead and do my things.
Corey's resignation takes effect July 31st. After that, a few months off as he contemplates his future. But it won't be in hockey, he says. In the meantime, the Canadiens have hired an executive search organization and hope to have their new president on the job in time for the new hockey season.
NHL teams faced a midnight Eastern deadline to sign 1997 draft picks or risk losing them. Oilers signed Jason Chimera, Brandon, and Chad Hintz of Moose Jaw to multi-year contracts. The Oilers also announced for the 4th consecutive year they had reached the league-imposed minimum of 13,000 season tickets and are now eligible for a subsidy of $2.5 million U.S. under the NHL's Canadian Currency Equalization Program. Claude Julien of the Hull Olympics will be the head coach of the national junior team for the December World Championships in Sweden. Julien, who guided the Olympics to the Quebec junior final, was an assistant during the Baby Nats, who won the silver in Winnipeg this past Christmas. Todd McClellan, the head coach and general manager of Swift Current, will be one of Julien's assistants. Baseball's All-Star Game will be played July 13th at Fenway Park in Boston. Seattle's Ken Griffey Jr., who leads the majors with 20 home runs, is also tops in fan balloting. Jr., who's been a starter every year since 1990, has collected more than 218,000 votes, which is 60,000 more than Rangers catcher Ivan Rodriguez. Bottom of the second today against the Baltimore Orioles, Ken Griffey takes Sidney Ponson deep. It's number 370 of his career, tying him with Gil Hodges for 44th on the all-time list, and it is also his 20th of the year. Griffey has at least one hit in 18 of his last 19 games. 9-4, Seattle in front of Baltimore in the 5th inning. Fenway Park, Red Sox hosting the Tigers. Lovely day at Fenway, and the fans are enjoying it. Top of the second, 2-1 Tigers. Rookie Gabe Kapler makes the most of his first at bat at Fenway over the Monster, 3-1. Bottom 7, Sox are trailing 6-4, and that's when they go to work. Jason Varitek takes Matt Anderson out of the yard, 2-run shot. Just like that, the game's tied at 6. Still in the 7th, Troy O'Leary puts a charge into one. It's another 2-run shot. This one goes over the Monster. Boston in front 8-6. Unfortunately, Mike Stanley's the next batter, and he's about to feel the frustration of Mr. Anderson. He gets drilled. Chuck Merriweather knows that it's on purpose, tosses the pitcher, and that's when the Tigers go nuts. Brad Osmus, the catcher, is next to go, and then it's Tiger manager Larry Parrish. So it's 3 strikes and you're gone. 9 days ago, Chuck Merriweather tossed C.J. Nitkowski of the Tigers out of the game for throwing at Cleveland's Kenny Lofton. Each team with 3 home runs, Tigers with 3 solo shots, Boston with 3 2-run shots. Yankee Stadium in Cleveland, it was 7-1 for the Cleveland Indians. The final, Jim Thome hitting a grand slam. The Cleveland Indians, by the way, lead the majors with 6 grand slams thanks to Jim Thome. Expos, who will be at Skydome this weekend to face the Blue Jays, are playing in the 9th inning and have their 5-game winning streak on the line. It is 5-5 playing in the 9th inning. So far, Cabrera has a 3-run homer, that one in the 9th, and that is the reason this game is all tied up. Luis Gonzalez, a 2-run shot for Arizona. To Florida we go, where Tony La Russa is hoping that his team can bounce back after being swept by the Cards.
One into right, coming hard as Katze. He was playing well over. He won't get there. That drops. Bragg is going to score.
So there's a run in. Now the Cardinals down 3-1. Cliff Floyd. That's actually Edgar Renteria. Now Hart in Kansas City. More from CTV's Judd Kahane in Calgary.
The stars of professional wrestling came to Calgary today to bid farewell to Owen Hart by the busload to say goodbye. And Hart's fans were there too, more than 1,000 strong, lining the sidewalks outside.
He knew what was right and what's wrong, and he always spoke his mind. He was a proud Canadian is what I think he was.
And it's left his family and his fans struggling with a terrible loss.
I loved him, I loved him, I loved him. And I miss him. Because he was everything to me.
Owen Hart was the youngest son in a wrestling dynasty. He started out when wrestling was more sport than spectacle, one of 8 brothers to make a living in the ring. And his fans loved him.
We grew up with it. You know, when they came out in the prairies, we were all there, and it's a great loss.
Oh, my! Owen Hart was a big star in a very demanding sport, and last week at the age of 34, his luck ran out when he plunged 6 stories to his death while being lowered into the ring before a fight. His fans say his death is a wake-up call that pro wrestling has gone too far.
Hopefully it'll calm down. It's getting too crazy.
I think there's too much trash in it. There's too much danger. They should go back to the way it used to be.
Owen Hart had wished for the same thing. He didn't like what the sport had become and planned to retire. This was not the goodbye his family and his fans had counted on. Jed Gahane, CTV News, Calgary.
When we come back on the early edition, Game 2 of the NBA Western Conference Final, Damon had a small hand. Maybe it was a big hand in the outcome. We'll tell you how and why. And it's Monday, and that means Plays of the Week. Great collection. Back in 2.
What do you think? $800? Needs new cap and wires. Water pump.